Welcome back to The Explainer. So, today we're unpacking an absolutely fascinating cricket match. We're heading straight over to Birmingham to break down this thrilling first ODI between India and England. You know, if you appreciate a match that's basically structured like a blockbuster movie with early dominance, some really shocking setbacks, and then this totally unexpected heroic finale, you're absolutely going to love this one. It was a true tag team resurgence. Basically, a victory built entirely on pairs of players just stepping up exactly when the team needed them most. But to actually appreciate this victory, we're not going to start at ball one. Instead, I want you to picture this. The score is 160 for 4. India's chasing, and suddenly all this momentum they'd so carefully constructed just slams right into a brick wall. The dressing room is getting super nervous, the English crowd is totally sensing blood, and a game that looked honestly completely under control has suddenly become dangerously precarious. Keep that exact moment in the back of your mind, because to understand how we got to this nail-biting scenario and how India ultimately escaped it, we need to hit rewind and look at the foundation of the game.
Section 1. Setting the stage.
259. That was the magic number set by England. Now, it's not a massive mountain to climb, but it's definitely not a walkover either, right? It requires some serious application and discipline. But honestly, the story of how England actually scraped their way up to 258 before being bowled out, that is a roller coaster all on its own.
So England opted to bat first, and they actually got off to a really solid start. By the 13th over, they're cruising along at 61 for no loss. But then, absolute chaos ensues. In the space of less than 10 overs, England goes through this catastrophic sudden slump, plummeting all the way down to 107 for 6 by the 22nd over. At that point, a respectable total just seemed totally out of the question. But hey, cricket's a game of partnerships, right? Enter the seasoned Joe Root and the plucky Liam Dawson. These two put together this incredibly gutsy 121-run rescue stand. Root basically played a runnable 76, just patiently waiting for the peerless Jasprit Bumrah to finish his initial spells. And by the way, Bumrah was phenomenal out there, finishing with 1 for 31 in 9 overs. Root even pulled off this absolutely wild ramp shot off a Bumrah bouncer. Right alongside him, Dawson hits a career-best 68 off 83 balls. So this crucial tag team effort literally drags England from the depths of 107 for 6 to a position where they were eventually bowled out for 258 in the 48th over. They gave their bowlers a real fighting chance.
Section 2. Gill dominates Edgbaston again. You know how Adelaide Oval has historically been Virat Kohli's playground? Well, Edgbaston is very quickly becoming Indian captain Shubman Gill's absolute happy hunting ground. Just last year, during the Test series at this exact venue, Gill smashed these massive scores of 269 and 161. Fast forward to today, and he translates that dominance perfectly into the 50-over format, anchoring the innings with this incredibly graceful 80-run knock. There's just something about this venue that brings out the absolute best in him, allowing him to mix that perfect poise with serious style. His innings was a literal masterclass out there. We're talking regal on drives, absolutely picturesque cover drives. And man, his pulled 6 off Josh Tongue was just a total treat for the eyes. But what's absolutely crucial to understand here is the context of his batting today. India lost their veterans early. Rohit Sharma goes for 11 and Virat Kohli falls for just 5. So with the team score reading a rather worrying 48 for 2, Gill simply had to take charge. And he absolutely did. He was never overly cautious, but he didn't take any silly risks either. He just stabilized the whole innings, getting some immense support from his informed deputy, Shreyas Iyer, who chipped in with a really vital 35 during a 101-run stand for the 3rd wicket. Gill was completely nullifying all that scoreboard pressure.
Section 3. A sudden twist in momentum.
Okay, so first, as we just talked about, Rohit and Kohli get dismissed early. Definitely not ideal, but Gill and Iyer managed to fix it. But then, disaster strikes. Shubman Gill, who honestly looked destined for his 10th ODI century, is suddenly really bothered by a dodgy hamstring and these severe calf muscle cramps. It gets so bad he's actually forced to retire hurt at 80. And the very moment he walks off that field, the momentum violently shifts right back into England's favor. Shreyas Iyer, who is incredibly well set, makes a poor call with some cross-pitch running and gets run out. And then finally, KL Rahul gets beaten for share pace by Josh Tongue and chops the ball right onto his own stumps. And just like that, boom, we are right back to that tense, heart-stopping number we talked about at the very beginning of this explainer. India, precariously hanging on at 160 for 4, still needing 99 runs to win, with 2 completely fresh batters at the crease.
Section 4. Aksar Patel's all-round show.
Now, Aksar has been pretty heavily panned lately for his low returns in T20 internationals, right? But this longer format really gave him the time to just settle down and truly showcase his value. First off, with the ball, he took 4 wickets for just 62 runs. Remember that massive 121-run rescue stand by England's Root and Dawson? Well, it was Akshar Patel who finally stepped up and broke the back of that English lineup, totally running through the tail once the pitch started to ease out. And then he comes out with a bat and drops a 57 not out off just 52 balls. Walking in at 160 for 4 in this incredibly highly pressurized environment, he didn't just survive, he attacked. He played the absolute perfect supporting cast role for the chase, effectively killing off any hopes of an English comeback.
And the coolest part is he absolutely did not do it alone. 102. That's the number of runs Akshar Patel and Washington Sundar put together in this incredible, unbroken partnership to finish off the game. Sundar was honestly just as spectacular, scoring an unbeaten 52 off 63 balls. Together, they totally shrugged off all that recent T20I criticism and just maintained absolute calm out there. They completely soaked up the pressure of a really hostile spell from Jofra Archer, comfortably milked the spinners, and effectively took the game completely away from England without losing a single wicket.
So despite those early jitters and that crazy mid-innings panic when Gill had to retire hurt, this match essentially wrapped up as a walk in the park, 6-wicket victory in just 45.2 overs. I mean, it's a massive testament to the sheer depth of this Indian squad. When the top order faltered, Gill stepped right up. When Gill had to leave, Akshar and Sundar completely closed the door. This incredible tag team resilience officially stamps India's dominance as they secure their very first win on this UK tour, grabbing a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series.
So what's the big takeaway here? Well, this Indian squad is showing immense adaptability and depth right now, proving they can still win even when their biggest names fall early or are unexpectedly forced off the field. But it definitely leaves us with a pretty compelling question for the rest of the tour. With Gill clearly in spectacular form and Akshar Patel finding this massive resurgence with both bat and ball, can England figure out a way to bounce back in the second ODI in Cardiff? I mean, they definitely showed some grit today with that Root-Dawson partnership, but they're absolutely going to need a full, cohesive team effort to stop this runaway Indian momentum. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this match. Keep learning, keep analyzing, and I will see you in the next explainer.